Hot take from Hascat here. He is saying adventure touring is just marketing speak for we made a cooler looking bagger. Completely agree, mate. And actually, if we think about it a little more than that, it's actually really true. And one of the reasons I think cruisers have been dipping in popularity, because you look at what a Road King offered, or even the Indian Chieftain offers, the bagger cruisers with the big screens and ultra comfort, they're super expensive. Yes, I know adventure touring motorcycles are very expensive. I just rode one recently and was shocked by the price. But in comparison to a Harley Davidson Road King, they're not that bad. They also have way more performance, they're significantly lighter, and they're far more versatile in my opinions. Yes, in a way, they have superseded in a lot of ways for a lot of people the old bagger cruiser, so you're not wrong there, Hascat, mate. I think you're onto something. Adventure tourers really are the new baggers. So if you haven't figured it out yet, we're doing a Q&A. Questions have been piling up. I haven't done one in a little while. We've been just so flat out here. I'm actually quite buggered, but we're pushing through it today because I really wanted to get on camera and have a chat and see what's going on in the community. So let's get into more of these great questions. The next comment is from Mo Muggy. Still waiting for a larger tank for the 300L. Yeah, me too, mate. It's the major component. I'm really waiting for something that actually suits my needs to drop. IMS and Acerbis have really dropped the ball on this one. Well, I've got a little bit of news for you. This isn't official confirmation, but I have managed to get in contact with Acerbis, but they have confirmed with me that they are in development of a bigger tank for the 300L. Again, take this with a grain of salt because IMS said the same to me, and they also promised a little bit of a larger tank than what actually made it to market. Acerbis have said they're in development. I came back at them and wanted specific details, of which they did not reply at all, so I've got absolutely no clue as to what size it is. I can only cross my fingers, pray to the adventure gods that it'll be something in the 13 plus litres. If I'm really being picky, I'd love it to be about 14 to 15 litres. I really hope that something does come out. The next comment is from Jbug or Jarbug. I've owned a WR250R and I will now act like a child. Thanks for the warning, mate. The WR250R is the greatest motorcycle of all time, and the CRF300L is for little babies. Fair enough, mate, fair enough. It's really hard for me to take a side here because I've owned both and I love them both dearly, so I can totally understand you wanting to protect your beloved WR250R, and sometimes we've got to do crazy things to protect the things we love, so have at it, mate. They're both fantastic bikes in my opinion, but good for a laugh. Cheers. The next comment is from High Desert Hills, and he's saying thanks for the video and the wise comments about upgrading a cheap bike with nice parts. Cheers, mate. I'm finally about ready to pull the trigger on a suspension upgrade myself, and I'm on the shorter side. Appreciate the insight on that. It makes me lean a little more towards the Rally Raid Level 1 solution, which is supposed to keep things about stock height. Yes, I think we've probably all seen the same Mad TV episode. It was quite informative. And yeah, the Rally Raid Level 1 solution seems to be really good for short riders. Rally Raid stuff in general is pretty fantastic. But I would like to also let you know I've since spoken to YSS because I've got a lot of questions from shorter riders. As I discussed, my current setup actually raises the height, so I said it wouldn't be the best for shorter riders. So Adam at YSS Australia has actually said they offer the same kit but at 30 millimeters less for shorter riders. So that would mean it would actually come in at slightly under stock height if my math is correct. I would suspect that most of the major suspension manufacturers will offer a short person options. I would shop around, see what's what, but if you've decided on the Rally Raid stuff, go for it, mate. They make really great kit. Eric Z, good day. Very formal. Good day to you too, sir. You may need a new side stand. Take a look at the Mad TV. They also replaced the suspension on the 300 but use 2 springs. Good to see the differences. Yes, I will likely need a new kickstand. That's one of the things I noticed when I put the side stand out for the first time after riding with the new suspension is it already had a little bit of a lean that was on the iffy side with the standard kickstand. With that taller suspension, it's definitely put it in the concerning category. As far as the using 2 springs, good to see the differences. Yeah, what happened with Mad TV is he went with the more budget option up front. So it's definitely an option that is far more wallet friendly and something to look into if you wanted to go down that road. I just wanted to go the whole hog and really see whether it's worth it. I'm really interested to see how this all-out front suspension will go. Some people are worried that this is going to be far too stiff for me. Others think it's going to be fantastic. Time will tell, of course, with a full review and once I get out there and really battle test it. Whether it's too hard for me or perfect, I'm really excited to find out. That is the entire point of this suspension process, is to bring you along with me. No matter which way and what direction it goes, we're all going to learn something. The next comment is from Wix Nix. He's saying 100% with you when spending. Cheers, mate. He's talking about my little rant that I made after I got some negative comments saying that you should never spend a lot of money on a cheap motorcycle. When I said to that, I think one of the massive advantages of buying a cheap motorcycle is that you can go completely crazy with upgrades and mods and still be well within budget and sometimes significantly under the other options in the market, which is my case because the 350 EXE-F was one of the bikes on my short list. And I'm still well under the budget of what that would have cost me buying the 300L, modding it exactly how I love it, and having thousands of dollars left to spare. So I think I've gone the right direction, and Wixnix completely agrees, so thanks for that, mate. And he's saying my DR650 SE is another perfect example of a relatively cheap bike with my personal touches of quality parts and mods to help my ride be even more reliable. Completely agree there, mate, and I love a beautifully set up DR650. There's so many options for those bikes. It's such a shame that Australia has canned the DR650. The next comment is from Harry Bollock. He's saying, hi Chronicles of Solid. How you doing, mate? Have you picked up both bikes off the ground? Theoretically, the DRZ should be easier at 138 kilograms versus 142 kilos of the 300L. But in practice, is this the case? It's a really interesting question, mate. I didn't actually drop the DRZ. I don't know how I managed that in the time I owned it because we all know how much time I've spent rolling around in the dirt. But what I will say is I did come close a few times, so I did have to kind of catch it and then drag it back up, which in my experience is sometimes even harder. The 300L somehow manages to feel lighter. Whether that's the low center of gravity, whether it carries its weight down lower, whether it's just the more modern design, it does feel like the more light, flickable bike. And that was one of the reasons I actually chose it, because when it got to the really tight technical stuff, I actually found it a lot easier on the 300L. I cannot say for certain at a static pickup point which one would be more difficult. Given they're both so light, I don't think it'd be too much of an issue. But if you do have injuries or you have health concerns and it is difficult to get that bike back up, the 300L to me felt like the bike that is easier to pick up and felt more nimble. Hope that helps, mate, and safe riding. The next comment is from Michael Gleason, and he's saying, will you be fitting the new Unifilter foam filter to your CRF300L? It's been a few people watching Mad TV. Yes, I will be picking up a foam filter kit. I'll probably get one of those packs where I've got a few changes, because I think this is one of the major benefits as well of the foam filter. Not only can you just get so much more life out of it because you don't have to have the one and done, throwing it in the bin and causing more waste anyway, you can wash them out, re-oil them and chuck them back in. And this really makes itself worth its weight in gold when you're doing an adventure trip. So you can just pull it out, put in a clean one that you've got squished up in a Ziploc bag, and you're ready to go, and your motorcycle can breathe good again. And you can also get all those pre-filters as well. So I think it's a great setup. And yes, I will be getting one, as my preference is always a foam filter. The final comment is from Dr. X, and he's saying, great video. Cheers, mate. Curious to why YSS over Ohlins Suspension? Yeah, Dr. X, I'll try and answer this as simply as I can. Basically, it was recommended to me by someone I really trust with the same bike. They'd had fantastic results. It also was a factor of basically customer support. They really were great at getting back to me. The communication was really on point, and that is something that I really like to have when I'm buying something, particularly something expensive. I want someone at the end that is accountable, that I can go to if everything goes to poo. I don't want the company just to disappear like a fart in the fan factory, and YSS have been really great. The other big thing is that YSS has a base here in Australia, so I got to talk to an Australian. It wasn't that I thought Ohlins was an inferior product. If anything, Ohlins is probably the gold standard. It was just YSS made sense for my personal needs, and it was also a little bit cheaper if my memory serves right as well. Hope that helps, mate. So thanks for joining me for that little Q&A, and thanks for all the questions and comments. I love interacting with you guys. And as I posted up, we have just crossed 25,000 subscribers, which absolutely blows my mind that we've got to this size. I think the best thing about this place is the community that's growing around it, the knowledge base that I'm able to access and help communicate with other people as well. Some of the seasoned riders in this channel have really helped me along in my journey too. So I'm learning along with you guys, and here's to another 25,000. So cheers, guys. Don't forget to stay shiny side up, and I'll see you in the next one. Catch you later.